Welcome to a brand new episode of Cult Movie Tuesdays right here on Night Owl Video. I'm Stephanie. Thanks for tuning in again. As you can see, things are looking a little different here on this video, and that's because I decided to shoot in black and white in honor of one of my all-time favorite cult classics, 1983's Rumblefish, Francis Ford Coppola. And so today I'm going to be discussing some of the history of this movie and my thoughts on the film. And just know before I start, this is a movie I discovered on my own in the cult section of the video store, and it turned out to be one of my favorites, and it's been a real pleasure to revisit this over the last couple of years. I picked up this VHS copy in 2020, I think, and I rewatched it for the first time in a long time, and then I've most recently upgraded to a DVD version, and there are other editions which I will get to shortly. So I hope you stick around for this review slash chat about this movie. I can't praise this movie enough. As far as like when I think back to going to the video store back in the 80s, this was like one of my all-time favorites and probably one of my most rented, because I just love to rewatch this movie. And I rewatched it this morning again after having not seen it for a few years, and it just blows me away. I just love this movie. So I'm going to give you a bit of the history of the film and my thoughts on it. And before I start, thank you to everyone who subscribed. I'm already up to 20 subscribers, which is amazing. I'm really blown away. And so many people have sent me messages of support, and so it's really awesome. Thank you for that. As I mentioned on Instagram, it took me a fair bit of courage to get up the nerve to do this, so it was a big step for me. And so anyway, I am so excited to make these videos. I'm so excited to make more, and I'm also really excited to kind of think about what other movies I want to feature on the channel. So if you have any movies you want me to review, that would be a cool idea too. I mean, I only have so many in my collection, although I do have quite a few, but if there's one that you think maybe I haven't seen, or something that's like thematically similar to ones I'm reviewing that you think I might like, by all means, post a comment and let me know, and I'll do my best. So as I mentioned, and I've got notes off to the side again, that's the glare in my glasses. Someday I'll probably be more professional and I won't have that going on, but for now. This film was directed by Francis Ford Coppola. It came out in 1983. It was filmed in 82, released in 83. It's a black and white drama, hence my presentation today, which is in black and white. I did that as an homage to the film. And this is based on a 1975 novel by S.E. Hinton. And if that name sounds familiar, it's the same person that wrote The Outsiders. And coincidentally, a film that Francis Ford Coppola also directed just before he did Rumblefish. Now, I say black and white. There is one exception, and that is there's a scene in the movie with some Siamese fighting fish, or AKA Rumblefish. And so that's the only color part in the movie. This may have some spoilers in it. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that at the end, but I figure this movie's been out for like 40 years. I think anyone who's probably interested in seeing this has probably already seen it. If you haven't seen it, I'll try my best to tread lightly on. I won't give you the ending, but I'll talk a bit about the story. Have a little sip of coffee out of my favorite doggo mug. President's Choice Canadian blend with a bit of almond milk. And not too hot. So this film was shot in Tulsa, Oklahoma in the spring and the summer and fall of 1982. And it stars, the cast on this film is incredible too, and a lot of people earlier in their careers. So it's got Matt Dillon and Mickey Rourke in the leads. Dillon as Rusty James and Mickey Rourke as the motorcycle boy. And but beyond that, a very young Diane Lane, who plays Matt Dillon's girlfriend in the film. Nicolas Cage in his film debut. As well as one of my all-time heartthrobs, Tom Waits, playing a guy who runs a billiard table cafe kind of place. He's always amazing in movies. I love Tom Waits. Dennis Hopper as playing the father of Matt Dillon and Mickey Rourke, Chris Penn in a very early appearance, Lawrence Fishburne, and the author of the book, S.E. Hinton, also makes a cameo as a prostitute later in the film. This is a very avant-garde style film for Francis Ford Coppola, who up until this point a lot of people knew as like Godfather and Apocalypse Now, and then this was like quite jarring, I think, for some people. They didn't expect Coppola to kind of go in this direction. Obviously, he returned more to his kind of classic cinematic style, but this one was very avant-garde, the black and white. And apparently during the filming, Coppola had the crew watch a lot of German expressionist films as a source of inspiration. The Dr. Caligari film and a bunch of other ones. So the soundtrack was done by Stuart Copeland, who's, as you may or may not know, is the drummer from the rock band Police. He does the entire soundtrack. It's kind of avant-garde, very percussive, obviously, because he's a drummer, but a really cool soundtrack. Coppola and Hinton wrote the screenplay to this film on Sundays during the filming of The Outsiders. So I'm imagining these films were released back to back. So I'm guessing Francis Ford Coppola was probably exhausted by the end of this because he was just working on this while he was doing The Outsiders and then released it shortly thereafter. Warner Brothers apparently was not happy with the original cut of The Outsiders, and so they turned Coppola down for this film, Rumblefish. And so eventually Coppola was able to secure financing with Universal and the film went ahead. Although I think he had actually started filming it before he even had the deal in place with Universal. He was very passionate about this film. So in the cinematography, there's like there's a theme of time passing here in the film, and especially time passing without the main characters realizing it. And there's this kind of like theme of like trying to get out of a place. You're trapped in a place. And so one of the cool techniques that they did to sort of add to the dimension of time passing was they filmed the clouds in the sky in a time-elapsed style, which I think they actually filmed the clouds in Hawaii because in Tulsa they don't have a lot of clouds apparently, or they didn't have what Coppola envisioned for it. So, but they shot those cloud scenes in a time elapsed thing to sort of like create this kind of really warped time signature in the film. So I thought that was kind of a cool little thing that I learned today. There's lots of clocks featured in the film, ticking clocks. The soundtrack is very percussive, so it kind of gives you that sense of a ticking clock. So there's a lot of elements of time passing in this film, and growing up, and people going away and coming back, and so there's that whole thing going on. And the film has a lot of kind of jarring camera shots. There's a lot of shots with the camera low to the ground. There's like a scene with a pool table where the camera, oh, I can kind of do it. Where the camera is like right at the end of the pool cue, and the balls kind of go out across the table. So there's a lot of really different kinds of shots, kind of an avant-garde style to it, which was again very different for Coppola, I think. Anyway. Let's see. So as with a lot of these films back then, and I mean, maybe to this day it still happens, but this was a box office bomb. It didn't do well at the box office. It was projected to have made a little over $2 million in profits on an estimated $10 million budget. So it wasn't a box office hit. Maybe black and white, maybe drama. People back then, I don't know, they were looking for. I mean, this was 1983, so you're thinking like the previous year you had like The Thing and E.T. and Blade Runner, and here's this sort of slow, sort of very thoughtful black and white film, and so it just didn't do good at the box office. On the flip side of that, though, as with many of these films, it was critically adored by the critics and the fans, and so it went on to have legs in home video, which is where I picked it up, and it's I don't know if it ever made its money back, but it did receive a lot of great praise from critics, and I think it did win some awards as well. So uh, you hear a lot of sad stories about that from back then, like movies where the directors and creators put so much effort into it and then it just bombed. And I mean, for example, I just mentioned Blade Runner. That was one that did not do well at the box office, and I think even critics kind of panned that one at the time. Now, of course, it's considered a science fiction masterpiece, but at the time, yeah, people just don't have any. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, like I said, this was one that I rented on my own at the video store, not knowing anything about the movie, and just instantly fell in love with this movie. Um, there's been several physical media releases of this movie. This is, I think this is like a 19. Yeah, this is a 1998 Universal Home Video release. It's bare bones. The special features are production notes, cast and filmmakers' bios, film highlights, and a theatrical trailer. And so this is your basic. And then this VHS one, I'm not sure what year this came out, but this is like I think this is definitely like a reissue from the original Rumblefish VHS. Of note, though, this is the original artwork for the film poster. So this got re-released a bunch of times, and then most notably in 2017, Criterion released a Blu-ray and a 2-disc DVD version. I looked those up for you. They are available on the website. The Blu-ray currently retails at $27.96, and the 2-disc DVD retails at $20.96. I got my copy for $1 at the thrift store. I was very happy when I found this, actually. Not that the VHS copy was bad, but I just wanted to upgrade to a bit clearer of a picture. So the movie centers around the two main characters of Matt Dillon and Mickey Rourke, Rusty James and the motorcycle boy down here, I guess. Mickey Rourke was really good in this, and he was very soft-spoken in the film. He had a few lines, and Matt Dillon was kind of more of the rough and tumble kind of character. And the movie basically centers around the relationship between the two brothers, and then Diane Lane plays Rusty James's girlfriend. And so like I said earlier in this video, it's a lot about the passage of time, the feeling of being trapped in a situation that you can't get out of. I'm not going to give you I won't give away the ending of the movie in case you haven't seen it, because I would love for you to experience that ending. It's got a very, very dramatic ending, very powerful. Lots of fight scenes, lots of choreographed fight scenes with the Stuart Copeland drum soundtrack coming in very triumphantly and really adding a lot of tension to the fight scenes and things like that. And it's a meandering kind of relationship story. It's a drama, so it's slow pace, except for the fight scenes, obviously. But it's a lot of the relationship between the brothers and how they kind of like, Matt Dillon looks up to Mickey Rourke and that kind of thing, and Mickey Rourke's just like, I'm no big deal. And I think S.E. Hinton saw a black and white picture of a person, a guy with a motorcycle in a magazine. She saw that picture and it inspired her so much that she wrote the short story and then eventually the long form version of what became Rumblefish. Yeah, so that's kind of the story without giving away the ending. But if you like that kind of more slow paced drama, with quite a bit of tension in it. So there's some very tender moments. I think you would probably like this film. And another thing I noticed too, watching it on the DVD with headphones, is that the voices of the actors sound really kind of disconnected from the film in a way. They sound almost like echoey. I don't know how to explain it, but I assume that was intentional on Coppola's part to kind of give it this kind of weird ambience. There's a lot of smoke and fires that are seemingly happening out of nowhere. And I think, again, that's kind of referring to those German expressionist films that they were watching. but it definitely gives you that kind of mood. I was thinking of Eraserhead when I was watching it, actually, because there was a lot of like in Eraserhead, there's a lot of like random fog or like smoke just coming out of places, and there's no explanation for it. I don't know if that was an inspiration of Coppola's, but it did kind of remind me of that, from an aesthetic point of view. So Francis Ford Coppola did have a relationship with his brother August, who is Nicolas Cage's father, and so he dedicated this film to August. And apparently, this became a very personal project for Francis Ford Coppola. He very much looked up to his brother August, and so he dedicated the film to him. And he got really, I think, really caught up in the story, and that's why it became like a passion project for him. As far as streaming it somewhere, I don't see it available on any of the streaming platforms. You can rent it on YouTube and Amazon Prime. And like I said, you can find it on different editions. This is the 1998 Universal DVD edition. There's kind of a cool, I don't know how well you can see that, but there's a cool picture on the back of Mickey and I'm blanking on Mickey and Matt. And there's another photo inside with the chapter list and things like that. Like I said, this is a very bare bones edition, although it's it's perfectly fine for what it is. It's a good transfer of the film, and then you can probably find one of these bad boys in your local thrift shop. And like I said, visit Criterion.com for the deluxe edition, which I'm kind of thinking maybe I want to upgrade to, because the one thing that's not on this edition is a director's commentary track, which I think would be really interesting to listen to. I bet Francis Ford Coppola has lots of things to add to the film. So give me your thoughts on that. If you've seen the film, what your thoughts are on it, and what you thought of my review. And like I said, if you can find it anywhere, grab it. If you love 80s cinema, cult cinema, avant-garde, I think of like Jim Jarmusch, Down by Law, or like I said, Eraserhead. It would be a nice companion piece to any of those kind of films if you wanted to have a cool cult black and white 80s style marathon. But anyway, I'd highly recommend this film. I give this film a 5 out of 5. No, hands down. You're probably thinking, geez, I can give it a lot of 5 out of 5s, but I'm reviewing a lot of movies that I love because that's what I want to do. And so, I'm not here to nitpick some of my favorite movies. I'm not actually really into the whole ratings thing, but if I had to say one way or the other, I would say this is a 5 out of 5 for me. So you can check it out you can rent it on YouTube, like I said, or Amazon Prime. Look for it in your thrift stores. It's not a super common one to come across, but I have seen it a few times, and I highly recommend it. Give me a subscribe, give me a like, comment what you think about the movie. I love to hear your thoughts. And like I said, if you've got any recommendations for me, I actually kind of noticed the shadow play here on the back kind of is like that was unintentional, but does kind of remind me actually of the film. There's a lot of shadow play and stuff in it as well. So that's my thoughts on Rumblefish, 1983, Francis Ford Coppola. Thank you for watching, and I will be back in a few days with a thrifting haul video I'm very excited for. So be sure to watch for that. I'm on Instagram, Night Owl Video, and I'm soon going to be starting a Facebook page, which you can follow as well. Thank you, and I will see you next time. And until then, I will see you in the video store.